Hello there. What's going on, you guys? I'm coming to you today with an Armada build, and I'm going to be doing a Rebel build today using Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. I will put a link to this Fleet Builder in the description below. It's one I use pretty much all the time. Definitely like this builder the best. Doing a Rebel build today because, for one, I've been doing a lot of Imperial builds lately with the SSD coming out. There's been a lot of focus on the Empire, and there probably will be for a while. So I figured the Rebels needed some love. Also, I wanted to do a Halloween-themed build for the Rebels. I have done one of those for the Empire already, and the idea of a Halloween-themed build is for ships to basically kind of break out of the mold, do something a little bit different as if they were in disguise or in costume. So this is mostly going to be a fun build, not a super competitive build, but hopefully it'll at least be effective. Maybe not win worlds or anything like that, but I think it'll be kind of a fun build if you want a change of pace. There is also another round of the giveaway going on right now. You can enter to win an expansion of your choice in the form of a $25 Cool Stuff gift card. So all you have to do that is to subscribe and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. All right, so coming up with a Rebel Halloween-themed build, it was a little trickier, as I think the Empire is able to kind of disguise things a little bit more than otherwise. But I figured a good commander to go with would be Sato, and I'm going to put him on board a Hammerhead. And one of the things that I like about Sato is he allows you to disguise, red dice shots as black dice shots. You can throw black dice at long range, which, if we're kind of changing things up a little bit and trick-or-treating, so to speak, I figured that was fairly appropriate. So I figured we would go with that. Now, what's going to make this more of a Halloween-themed deal is that this Corvette is going to be a carrier, and so is going to be outfitted more to do some squadron support rather than taking long-range shots. Although it will certainly take long-range shots, it's going to need to be a carrier. Now that kind of makes sense a little bit too, considering that you have Sato and you do need ships sending out some squadron commands. So we're going to go ahead and do a few things. For one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put Ramus Antilles on here. So this way I can do a squadron command and I can also get a token. I'm also going to put an expanded hangar bay. So now I can activate 3 squadrons, and I'm going to put flight controllers on here so that I can do the lovely thing of giving my squadrons an extra blue die, which is always going to be nice. So this is actually going to, and I've said this a long time ago, that the Hammerheads can actually make pretty effective carriers, considering their point costs and the way that the upgrades that they can take. They can be outfitted to, have pretty nice. And if you're running Leia, you can swap the officer to somebody that's even more conducive for squadrons. So there's definitely a lot of options and things that you can put on a Corvette to make them good carriers. But people don't generally think of them as carriers first, so that's kind of the costume he's wearing today. And he's doubling as also a gunship because he will be able to roll multiple black dice at long range. So that is the fun part there. We are going to go ahead and put a GR75, but we're going to make it a combat retrofit. People usually see GR75s on the ground and they think, well, this guy's not going to shoot me, so that's his little hidden surprise. And we're going to give this GR75 Torin Far and Commsnet. Commsnet is basically he's handing out candy. Torin Far is handing out candy as well to the ships, as well as to our squadrons. The squadrons are going to need some help. And let's go ahead and go on to the next ship. Now, this one is going to be a little surprise. This one is one I tend to use as my flagships more often than not if I'm doing small ships. This is going to be a Pelta. I'm going to go with the Pelta class assault ship. This one works better in a Sato list because you can take an ordnance upgrade. So we'll take assault concussions. But the thing is, a lot of times I would leave it right there if I was just doing a regular Sato build. But I want this ship to be a little bit of a surprise as well. So I'm going to give this ship Engine Techs. Engine Techs is going to allow this ship to move much faster and give it a tremendous amount of maneuverability. I think Engine Techs on a Pelta is a really, really nice choice. We don't often take that because a lot of times a Pelta is just taking a command getting that token and saving that token to activate a fleet support. That does happen a lot. That's not the only way that they're flown, but that happens more often than is usually conducive to just taking a nav every turn. And so that's kind of one of the things the GR75 is going to be doing. The GR75 is going to want to pass tokens because this Pelta is going to run a fleet upgrade here. We're going to run All Fighters Follow Me. And you'll see why once I put our squadrons in here. But All Fighters Follow Me is going to increase my my ship speed. Now, a lot of times, like I said, when I run Sato, a lot of times I'll run A-Wings. I'm not going to run A-Wings in this build. So we are going to need All Fighters Follow Me for what we're running. And because of that, you know, this GR75 will be doing a squadron command an awful lot. The GR75 won't have to necessarily pass a token every turn, but they will for at least maybe the first couple. I'm going to add my squadrons now before I get into the rest of the ships, because this is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to add YT1300 times 5. We're going to add 5 YT1300s. Now, I know it's an odd number. It just happened to fit the points this way. But, you know, and you can change it around if you want. If you want to drop an intel in there, you certainly can do that. They have escort, so they could afford it. But I wanted to run 5 YT1300s because of the fact that, well, they have a lot of hull, an awful lot, and so it's going to be hard to kill them. And we're seeing more and more fleets come in with specifically with anti-squadron outfittings, and even if you're anti-squadron, it's going to be hard to kill a YT1300. They're not heavy. They have escort and they have counter 1, so it's just very, very nice. And so they're going to perform some of that A-wing role, in that they're going to get in up close and personal, and they're going to be able to counter your squadron. So they're really going to lock down a lot of squadron builds, and they're going to be a lot more resilient against those like your Mauler, Mythal, and Vader, and you know, and a lot of those type of fleets. So I can see these guys doing very, very well that way. Their biggest weakness by far here is that they have only the 2 speed, and that's why we have that's why we have All Fighters Follow Me, because now at speed 3, all of a sudden they're respectable and they can, you know, they can keep up with your fleet. And by the time you get them in close and where they need to be, you won't necessarily have to use All Fighters Follow Me too much more after that point. You just need them to get into engagement range, you know, probably by turn 2 or 3, and then you can probably rely on them being normal speed, so then the GR75 can hand out squadron tokens on its own, or rather squadron commands on its own, without having to pass tokens. So that's my thing, is I'm imagining 2 turns of the GR75 passing tokens, and then if you needed one more time, you can just spend the All Fighters Follow Me, but for turns like 4, 5, and 6, the GR75 will probably actually be doing squadron commands. Toran Far is going to synergize really well with what I've got going on so far, because you've got the YT1300s that are rolling all blue dice. Really, 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 really good for Toran Far. And also Counter 1, which is also another blue die. Also really, really good for Toran Far. So Toran Far is helping everybody here, which is just great. We also have, let's see what we've got. We've got the more ships to add. So let's go ahead and toss in a CR90. Now this one's going to be a little bit of a surprise as well, because we're going to be running a CR90 with Dodonna's Pride. Now you're probably thinking, wait a second, you normally are supposed to run Dodonna's Pride on a CR90B, so you get all those blue dice. But the surprise here, the costume or the trick-or-treat theme here, is that because this is a CR90A, we've got red dice out of all of our arcs, and so at long range, instead of rolling black, we can actually add blue at long range and trigger Dodonna's Pride at long range, canceling the blue crit to deal face-up damage to the defender. It's going to be a really nice way to run a CR90A that you probably don't see very often, but it definitely works with Sato because we can change out those dice before we roll, or you could even do some kind of interesting combination. But I think that'll be a very fun way to run a build like this. So Dodonna's Pride, very fun in that case. We got some more points left over. We're going to add a heavy hitter here, and we're going to go ahead and go with an MC-30 Scout Frigate. Now, the MC-30s typically run, you know, up close, and they're the big big ship killers, and And we're going to try to do that, but from a different perspective. So one thing you don't often see on an MC30 is spinal armament, but I'm going to run spinal armament here, and the reason for that is I want to have 2 red dice out of every single arc, and so this way I can double arc with Sato, 2 red dice, change them to 2 black dice. That's kind of the idea there, and then with our remaining points we're going to put assault concussions on this MC30. So now I've got 2 black dice out of the front, 2 black dice out of the sides, 2 black dice out of the rear, or if I get up close, I can roll all black dice. The only thing that you would kind of want here is ordnance experts, and you can easily drop a YT 1300 for that. We could do something like this if you wanted. And then we have a little bit of points left over. We could put in another squadron, like maybe a Z95, who could be protected by the YT 1300s. You could do it something like that. There's a lot of little flexibility, a little bit of flexibility that you have. You're still going to have, you know, a lot of hull. This Z95, though, if you do something like this, the Z95 is not going to get that benefit from Torrent Far. So there's a couple of ways that you could run this, but that's the idea for the Halloween-themed build. And like I said, you do have a decent amount of firepower. You've got 5 ships that can shoot, even though the GR75 only has, you know, a front and rear that it can shoot out of. But you got 5 shooting ships. You got some squadrons. You've got definitely some damage potential with Sato, but you also have some weaknesses. So it's not necessarily the strongest build ever, but it's definitely something that might surprise your opponents. And that's kind of the theme here is, you know, festive holiday theme. And let's have some fun with it because the game is meant to be fun. Let's look at objectives right now. So one of the things I like to do is I like to talk about these, and you know, in this case, opening salvo is definitely a possibility. I've got 5 shooting ships, especially when you've got a CR90, you know, or rather a not a CR90, but a GR75 combat retrofit. I love the idea of being able to roll a whole bunch of dice from a GR75. I think that's beautiful. But what I'm going to probably do is, I think I'm going to go with Most Wanted, because I can put that on my GR75, and this will give all of my ships an extra die when attacking, and I think that'll work better with Sato, because I can get lots of black dice at long range now. Big fan of that. So we've got Most Wanted on the list. Let's go up next. Now for our yellows, I am thinking about the biggest weakness that a Sato list tends to face is that when we're going up against ships that have long-range defense, so MC30s, things like that, you know, those type of ships will be able to just, our 1 black crit that we roll at long range, they'll be able to just evade and cancel a black crit, which normally black dice, you don't have to worry about evades, but here you do. So one of the ways that I can mitigate that is something like Planetary Ion Cannon. The idea here, though, is that if I am able to get a shot on you first, even if I'm not first player, if I can still take the shot on you first, maybe exhaust, like even if it's an MC30. The idea is to exhaust some tokens, so this way if an accuracy is rolled, or if I do, you know, manage to get multiple ships to all fire on you at the same time, I can cut down the detriment of what a, you know, those long-range evades are going to do to my black dice. And for our blue, I am going to go ahead and go with Superior Positions. Solar Corona or Superior Positions are both good. Actually, I think I'll go with Solar Corona instead. Both would totally work, but I'm not quite as strong on Squadrons. If I was a little bit stronger on Squadrons, I think Superior Positions might be better. Although honestly, both could be very good here. I think the Pelta with engine techs is going to give it the option to swing around behind people. The CR90A can swing around behind other ships. The MC30 can definitely do it. The Squadrons might be able to get in there. It really depends. Solar Corona is more of a sure thing that's you know, less likely to help my my opponent. So I think I'll go with that one instead. So yeah, those are our objectives, and that is the list, guys. If you like this build, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about holiday-themed lists? Should we do some more of these for future holidays? But don't forget to subscribe, click that bell for alerts, leave a comment to enter the giveaway. Check me out on Crabbok.com. Hop in Discord, say hi there. And a big thanks to my patrons as well. Check out the giveaways that are going on Patreon right now. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.